stage is set, the terms are met. Are you ready for a friendly war? No consolation, we fight to the end. A ruthless competition among friends. Hello, what's up, and welcome to the preseason episode of NCP. We're so back, baby. And first question, how's everyone doing tonight?
Great.
We're all doing amazing.
There's a lot of. Oh, he's dead.
We got a couple people in here. So we got Ham as usual. We got. I think Garrett is the only person who has been on the podcast before.
I think so, yeah.
And then we got Shell, Eric, and
Hello.
am I forgetting someone?
Maybe.
Colin. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, there's too many people in this call right now. But anyway, we're gonna dive into a little bit of the stuff that happened this past weekend. We're gonna start to talk about things that are going to happen. So we're gonna kick it off just with a little bit of toilet bowl action. So for those of you who don't know, the toilet bowl involved the 4 teams at the bottom of the league who did not make playoffs in a 4-team bracket. So the first game we had the Dirty Turtles, captained by Daisy, of course, against Shell's legacy team. So this is the one thing Shell can talk about that's actually still relevant.
Oh man.
But Eric, how are you feeling going into this series against Shell?
I listen. I did not have a whole lot of hope because of how poorly the Shy Guys performed this season, but the Shy Guys showed out. Let me tell you.
That they did. Shell, did you have any idea that this was going on?
Not really, but I did not have confidence in my team at this point in the season.
Yeah, I think that's very understandable. Well, we're not gonna watch the whole game, but basically, at the start, it looked like the Shy Guys were gonna flounder again. Shell's team with a good addition of Toad was looking pretty strong, but they just kind of folded, and eventually Eric was able to take the win. We will talk later about this team comp that the Legacy NTN JV was running with Hammer Bro, Dry Bones, and Toad with a Mario brother as a captain. That will come back. So this was a series that was 1-3 by the Dirty Turtles. Next one we had, and so Shell, that actually means that your team officially finished season 1 with 0 wins.
Let's go.
That's
impressive.
Yeah,
no one would have ever predicted that.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that stat either. Next game saw Adams Flying Dutchman, the final game we'll ever see of Triple Hammer Bro, against Spread Triple Option. And this was our first look at Crystal Canyon, both of these series. Colin, how did you feel about Crystal Canyon as a new addition to the map pool?
It was interesting. We'll see how it plays out throughout next season. I think some teams will have some interesting strategies to play around. Basically what happens, for everyone who doesn't know, is right at the kickoff, a laser comes through and evaporates 1 to 2 players on each team. And then nothing else happens until another goal. So every single... Can it do 0?
Yes, it can. It can.
Okay,
it can
so
4v4.
Yeah, so the gameplay is vanilla, except sometimes it's like small-sided games, which I think some captains and rosters can take advantage of. It was interesting to watch. We'll see how it unfolds throughout the rest of the season. See what captains try to, or see what teams try to make a strategy for that.
Yeah, the did catch a dub here in this series and sent Danny's team as the second team to go completely winless across the first season. So shouts out to that. And so that set up the grand finals of the Toilet Bowl of Dirty Turtle. Wait, is this dude, you guys fucked me up so bad. the Dirty Turtles and the Flying Dutchman. Garrett, watching the Dirty Turtles take the toilet bowl win, did you feel any remorse for your midseason trade of Daisy for Bowser?
Absolutely not, because at the end of the day, winning the toilet bowl makes you the 9th best team in the league. Whereas
Solid 8th, Garrett.
8th, there's 12, right? Isn't there only 4 people? 12, 11, 10, 9?
Yeah.
How is it 8?
Oh, okay.
No, Garrett, I'm saying Garrett's 8.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm aware. And you know what's better than 9 in a race? 8th. So, W. End of the day. We did better without than with, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Plus, there's no way in hell that Daisy would have had as fun of a game against PD in that quarterfinals match.
I will say also calling the Garrett the 8th best team is complete BS when he was an own goal away from beating me, who went game 5 in the grand final.
That's fair.
Just saying based off of seeding and going out in the first round, not necessarily based on ability.
The only people that could have taken me out as myself, which we learned time and time again, was the cause of the losses this season most of the time.
So excited for that to happen again.
But right here, we did see the other new map edition of Stormship Stadium. Hamilton, what are your thoughts and vibes on this map being added into the pool?
I think everyone's a really big fan of this map. I think everyone likes the fact that it tilts. It doesn't hurt anyone's eyes at all. It doesn't make anyone feel slightly what's the word? Seasick. This is all sarcasm, if you are not aware. I think that this will be one of the most banned maps for no reason other than people don't want to watch it get played.
I couldn't disagree more.
I personally feel an obligation to come here just to see what the Donkey Kong tilt interaction does.
The Donkey Kong Thunder Wham, the Rocky Ha.
But I do think you're right that it will be very commonly banned. I also don't really see any ways that you could spin this into an advantage for your team.
Yeah.
And I think most people got a feel for why I did not include these maps in the season 1 map pool. But we'll see. Maybe people will grow some affinity for it. So Eric did ice the toilet bowl, and that secured the number 1 pick into the draft for him.
Wee!
Freddie and I both deferred our benefit of making the finals and decided to just enter the default draft. So that was the only thing that was pre-selected going in. Everything else was completely random. So Eric locked in at number 1. It was a full snake draft that led to some very interesting rosters. Hamilton, do we want to talk about the draft as a whole before we go straight into our tier list for the week? Or do we just want to hop straight over?
I think we could talk about it. I think that there's some strategies that we could talk about. Like, in my opinion, Eric taking PD first overall, while not a bad pick, was a little surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine people seeing Dave and I take Dry Bones in the middle would have surprised a couple people.
Shell, do you know what the season 2 draft format was?
I have no idea.
Okay, let us enlighten you. So, season 1. Do you know what the season 1 draft format was?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm familiar with that. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so season 2, for the draft, everything was available. Sidekicks, there were 5 of each available in the draft, but they are scarce this season. Unlike season 1, you can't freely make changes. So the roster that you draft, you are only able to iterate throughout the season by making direct trades, or there are 4 extra sidekicks that will be in a waiver pool. So drafting, very important. It's basically just fantasy football.
No, that makes sense, because then you have the waiver and stuff that you can grab from.
Yeah. So quite literally, it's just fantasy football. So Eric, number 1 pick. I think most people probably would have pegged Bowser or Wario. What swayed you to PD?
PD performed really well, and Bowser disappointed me last season.
Yeah, I mean,
What?
End of
that's fair.
sentence.
Yeah.
Why not
Wario.
Wario? Why not Wario?
Wario, I could probably tell would not have done me well. I just don't have the vibes. I don't share the same vibes as Wario.
He's got no clutch.
Or is it you? Or is it you?
Definitely
Um,
me. Definitely me.
I very much wanted the plant the second I knew I was first pick.
What do you see in PD?
Limbo.
Limbo.
Obviously.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like from like week 6 on, I do think that PD has a good resume for honestly best captain in the entire league. He was highest in Mega Strike goal participation. He was probably up there in goals, and his team made it to the championship. So I think that's totally valid. Danny took the unsurprising pick of Bowser at number 2. Garrett, was part of you holding on to hope to reunite with Bowser for season 2?
If I had gotten anything other than last pick, perhaps. But after I wasn't picked in the first 3, I was realizing what we were going to end up having to cope with, unfortunately. But yes, I would have snapped Bowser if he was available by the time I was there. 100%, not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I think that's valid. And I think pretty much everyone was sitting there. And then an interesting third pick. So Adam and Grant. Adam fell asleep, missed the draft. So he went to auto draft and saw Wario, who still has the highest strikers index, which is win percentage multiplied by goals per game in the entire league, went for number 3. Colin, after kind of being burned by Wario in the postseason, do you think that Adam is set up for success?
You know, at this point in the draft, I think Wario is the best remaining player. I had him there. If I had somehow stumbled into the number 2 overall pick, there is a strong chance I would have maybe tried running it back with Wario. I might have gone Bowser instead, but I definitely have Wario in my top 3 players, and I think he's at this point in the draft in a good position. Maybe not after the next few rounds, but I think that was a good selection.
Very valid. And then so the next pick took us to Yoshi, which I think is pretty interesting. I'm gonna throw this one out to the table. Where are everyone's Yoshi stocks?
I saw. Oh, go ahead.
He said we should all talk. I had him
say that.
on my draft board probably as like the 5th or 6th, probably number 5 captain. I think I would have taken Bowser Jr. over him, and probably maybe Donkey Kong as well. But, you know, Jacob's loyal to his guys, and that's who he is.
Yeah, and he likely is not making a single change to either his captain or his team throughout the entire thing.
True.
I do think that was a little bit high, but I think that Yoshi is, you know, he's very comparable to Bowser Jr. I mean, next up, that there's a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah, I'm going to need some explaining here, Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton, do you want to elaborate on your logic behind this pick?
No, he doesn't.
He pleads the 5th.
He's ashamed.
I'm muted. That's a
There he is.
good time. I want to first talk about Jacob's Yoshi pick, and I only want to talk about it because I feel like Jacob slandered Yoshi the entire season. And so for him to take him when there's a comparable Bowser Jr. on the table, I thought was a very interesting pick from Jacob. My dry bones pick was driven by the fact that I had 3 captains that I wanted. And then I said I would rather have a dry bones than a mediocre captain.
Bowser
And
Jr. not in that.
Bowser Jr. was
That
not in my 3. It was PD, Bowser, Wario. And as soon as those 3 were off the table, understandably so quickly, I was after a dry bones.
Would you have taken like it doesn't matter, but do you value Bowser Jr. more than you value Yoshi? Hamilton?
I do not think that would have mattered. If Jacob had taken Bowser Jr., I don't think I would have taken a Yoshi.
Okay, understood. Well, I think all the rest of us down at the bottom of the draft were actually really hoping that you took Bowser Jr. because if you hadn't, Grant's next 3 on his form were Daisy, Peach, and the Did in some order. So someone else was going to get gifted Bowser Jr. But because you did that, Grant's entire season got saved. So shouts out to you, Ham. Dave also sipped the dry bones juice and picked up one in the first round. And then one of the most perplexing picks in the entire draft, I would say, if you aren't an avid podcast listener, Eric, do you think that Waluigi is a top tier captain? Because Freddie seems to.
No, not at all.
Hey, defending champ right there.
Waluigi's mid, I'll say.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely carried by his roster last season, which was impossible to build.
Yeah.
I, for one, was absolutely stoked at that because my main priority was to try and secure a shooting captain. And DK was still on the board. Would have loved for it to be Bowser Jr., but way of the road. And then I don't think there's too much to talk about with Reed grabbing Luigi, other than the fact that it'll be very interesting. Shell, I don't know if you're aware, but Luigi and Mario are the exact same character in the game. Same power up, same abilities, everything. However, Luigi probably scored like over double the amount of goals. Did you watch Luigi or Mario play this season or last season?
Yeah. I did.
Do you think there's any difference between what your Mario put on the field versus what Luigi can do?
Oh, it's crazy how little Mario did compared to Luigi, and they have the same stats. I guess it's just the randomized coding of the character. But I'm expecting a big season for Mario this year, like Garrett. But I won't get into that until we get there.
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be very time will tell, as Luigi will now not have a team full of Toads hitting him up. Now, I will say that we talked a little bit about Hamilton having a confusing pick. I think that Colin taking the Did in round 1. I'm gonna need to hear some logic here, Colin.
I will defend this. So right now I'm sitting here at pick 11. I had Dry Bones rated higher than, like, these were my options, I'd rather take a Dry Bones. But looking at who was available, I knew that at least one was going to be around on the turn because there were 3 left and Garrett could only make 2 picks. So I decided I had the choice between Diddy and Mario for my captain. Unless I wanted to wait until later rounds, but I was like, I can get my choice of Diddy or Mario and then still get a Dry Bones on the turn. And I might have seen something in the toilet bowl that made me think maybe we can make Diddy work. We'll find out. My strategy will come clear. Garrett, just want to, before I reveal anything too much, did Freddie end up submitting his roster last night?
I hope so.
He was talking about it. So I'm just going to say it anyway. I saw some, maybe Diddy's got something to work with on the Canyon. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. But I will say you could have had 2 Dry Bones.
I could have had 2 Dry Bones, but you know what the thing is with 2 Dry Bones? It's boring. And
that is true.
I didn't want to watch that all season.
Well, thankfully, we will never have to see that ever again because one other man was given the opportunity of 2 Dry Bones, and he also rejected it. Garrett, walk me through.
If I didn't, I would like you to, without it's a spoiler. I want you to scroll down and see where the last 2 captains got taken. Yeah, that's why I didn't take 2 Dry Bones. That right there. All right, we're good to go back up.
We're good to go. Yeah,
no, there's no world I'm taking Daisy again. I'm not putting myself through that.
True.
Peach was infinitely worse somehow. However, all of the offense to Shell, but Shell very poorly managed a Mario team, and I would like to restore his name back up there as our true main character.
That's how I feel about Diddy as well. I thought he didn't get a fair shot last year with only having Hammer Bros.
I think I put together a very solid squad for Mario to actually flourish behind. Unfortunately, was it Triple Hammer Bros Shells? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. You
Yeah,
know it.
he had. It was four guys trying to spell a team with an I in it, and frankly, he needed a little support. We got him some support. I think that my sidekick crew, alongside Reed's, I might add, is very, very good.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
without my help, he wouldn't be this low on the draft list. So you're
You
welcome.
got that's true, and without the wheels help, I might have not had pick 12, but
yeah, well, I don't think we need to get into the minutia of all the other picks. I think for our next segment we're gonna talk about that more in depth. But round one was definitely interesting. There was a lot of conversations about when dry bones would be taken versus captains, and I don't think anyone had it pegged quite as high as pick 5.
yeah,
But
You're welcome.
led to some very interesting teams. And to allude to what Colin said, there will be no triple, no double, and only a few single dry bones teams in the entire league. So after the freaking marimba echoing in my head every night after watching dry bones teleport in 5 times a game, that will be happening a lot less, and we'll see some non dry bones gameplay every now and then.
I'll say all 5 dry bones gone by pick. What is that? 15.
Mm-hmm.
So they were gone early.
Yeah, not too surprising. So for the next segment, we are gonna do a grade of people's drafting. So I think we'll do this similar to how we did our last tier list when we had a lot of people. Is we'll go down the row of us and we get to place someone in, and then at the very end we'll go back and edit as needed. And so for this, we are considering the team that was built with the resources that were provided. So, like Garrett said, he was picked 12. So that's taken into consideration, considering the fact that, he, had to sort of react accordingly versus, someone like Eric or Danny who, had first pick. So let's go in alphabetical order here because I have no other way of organizing this. So I will alphabetical order in terms of our names because that's abundantly clear.
That's abundantly clear.
So
I know exactly what the order is.
Yeah. I'll try and call it out. But anyway, so me being Austin, no one's name else starts with an A, I believe, if I've done that math correctly. I'm gonna you can pick who you want to place. So if you have someone in mind, you can pick and place them. I'm gonna take Bowser, and I'm gonna say that Danny had a C tier performance in terms of the draft.
Are we giving comments on that yet, or are we waiting?
Everyone's gonna have the chance to say their piece about their pick, and then at the very end we can go back and loop it. So I'm just gonna give a little bit of reasoning, then we'll just go on to the next person. Then at the very end we can destroy this. But I think that Danny was absolutely trolling with his round 2 Birdo pick. At that point, all the dry bones were gone by the time it got to him. But there were still Toads and Boos on the board.
And Hammer Bros and Monty's. It's just...
Yeah, and Birdo has the same stats as Bowser. And
yeah.
And now he doesn't have a single speed character on his team.
It's a slow, sluggy team.
I'm putting it in D. We can come back to it later. The more I look at it, the more frustrated I get.
With the resources, yes, it's D. I don't think after week 1 they'll be in D just because Bowser has shown he can carry a bad team.
Listen.
But I think with the resources draft performance, it's a D draft performance. I agree.
This is not projections on standings. I don't think there's anything. There's no D tier Bowser team. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Eric tried. It doesn't exist. But
D drafted. I agree.
But I think
Bowser
that
failed.
I think
All I gotta say.
Danny literally had the opportunity to get Bowser, Toad, and Boo, and I don't give a fuck who the third person is. They they were probably gonna win the league.
Hamilton has feelings. No, he has feelings.
So next up, I believe is Colin. If I got my alphabet correct.
I believe my name does come next. Who do I want to grade? Can I do a little combo wombo
Whoa.
since I believe they're the same team?
If you're referring to me and Reed, we are the same team, yes.
I'm going with the other combination of teams with Adam and Grant of Bowser and Bowser or Wario and Bowser Jr. that are also the exact same team.
Are they?
And yes, they are.
Mhm.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put Adam in D, and I'm gonna put Grant in C. I know I'm cheating, and I'm taking two teams and I'm putting them somewhere different.
Can you elaborate?
I can elaborate. Do I even want to do that? The thing is, Grant, the reason I want to put Bowser Jr. higher up on the board is because he had a later pick.
Mm-hmm.
And he still managed to get a very good captain. I guess he's, you know what? Put them both in D. They both have two Birdos.
They both have two Birdos.
They're
That's
both
true.
going to D. They both have two Birdos and a shy guy. Or yeah, two Birdos and a shy guy.
And just
That's-
like
that
that,
is my
all
argument.
5 Birdos are in D tier.
That is
And I
tragic.
hate that as a Birdo fan.
But like, why the hell were 3 of the 5 Birdos taken like immediately? Like in the
Like, there's
second
a
round,
activity?
in the second round, 3 of the 5 Birdos were gone, and then these 2 assholes came and took the other 2.
I don't know. I guess both of these teams are gonna have to rely, like, their only passers are their captains.
Mhm.
They have shooters all over the place.
Yep.
3 shooters, and then I guess Shy Guy's gonna. I guess Birdo can defend. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a decent comp. I think they're gonna struggle the whole possession.
Like
And
the
then we'll
meta
see.
teams last season were Toad, Boo, Dry Bones, double Dry Bones, Toad, and triple Dry Bones. It was all about speed, and these 3 teams had opportunities to get speed players, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toads were on the board. You can't be taking Birdos when Toads are on the board.
Yeah. E comes next. Eric, who do you want to place?
Hi, that's me. I'm gonna take Freddy's team. Put it at C. Perfectly mid.
We're talking Bood, Toe, yeah, Toe.
Toe. Yes, that's his name.
And Hammer Broad. What's mid about this to you?
We're gonna go back to the statement of I don't think Frey should have gone as far as he did with Waluigi. I really don't. Waluigi as a captain is perfectly mid.
I do a counter
Hammer Bro
argument?
I like. Sure.
I would just like to point out we're hating on the Waluigi pick. The only captain you would conceivably draft ahead of Waluigi where Fred was picking was Donkey Kong.
Who I think is better.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
he's better, but you are gonna take Waluigi before Luigi, in my opinion.
I agree.
So maybe he picked him one pick ahead of place. That's his championship winning captain. I agree with that. But Boot Toad Hammer Bro isn't a terrible sidekick combo with no dry bones available.
I will also say that Freddy, wow, great words. Freddy also deserves to be penalized for the fact that he didn't take his perk and then ended up dry bonesless.
Yeah,
I agree.
But E, we got. Oh my god, I nearly choked. G next.
What
Garrett.
about? Oh yeah, it's this one. It's meat. Let's see. I would like to take. Can you go back to the teams just real quick?
Yeah.
I want to just confirm something.
I will mark off the teams we've done, if that helps.
I would like to take Austin's team and throw it up in A. Truly. Give me the DK up there. I think the DK is a very underrated cap. And I think that, like, of the drafts, I think that this is a really good team, and I'm properly terrified of it.
Appreciate it. I was stoked.
I'm not.
This is, obviously I would have loved to have, there are slightly better captains, but I was stoked with how this played out.
It's very good.
Yeah, thank you. H Hamilton. Has he remuted?
I have.
Oh wait.
I'm gonna jump in with a really nice take here, and I'm gonna pick Eric's team.
Huh?
And I'm gonna leave it in F.
Oh my god.
You bitch.
I think that his captain pick was the only thing he did right, and he frankly would have really struggled to mess that up.
I hate you.
Second round shy guy when there are 2 shy guys in free agency is crazy in my mind.
Yeah.
And then the third round immediately after that to go Monty, and then you end the draft with Koopa because there's no one left. I mean, I guess round 4 was a good pick, taking Koopa over Shy Guy. But I mean, after that, I really don't have. I mean this nicely, Eric, but Petey was a great pick. After that, that's it.
I cannot wait to wipe the floor with you.
Okay.
Bring it.
Checking the schedule real quick.
Do they even play?
Week 4, mark it on the calendars.
Mark
Week
it.
4.
Mark it down.
First conference game, right?
Yeah.
This is a draft rating. I think my team could also end down here.
I wasn't gonna say it.
But I'm just putting you down here with me because you had the first pick.
All right, Shell. Now that you've been educated on the draft,
I know who I'm gonna pick.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And I know where I'm gonna place them.
Okay.
I want to pick Garrett's team.
And Reed's or just mine?
Just Garrett's team.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna put him in A.
Oh, I love it.
Taking into account that he was the last pick of the draft. The reasoning behind it is because I believe Mario was way undervalued in this draft and should have been taken sooner. And I think he got a great value pick there on the last pick. And then also I think he's got a good team around him. So that's why he's an A.
Draft score only. I like it. Thank you.
Respect. We'll loop back to that if needed. Okay, well, there's some interesting people on the board here. Unless I've missed anyone, I believe we're back to me. I think I want to take a stab at Dave here, reppin' Daisy. I don't feel good about this team. I look at who's in DNF and where Dave was in the draft. Let's see, who did Dave pass on? Okay, Dave passed on Waluigi, DK, and Luigi.
And his own old captain.
Yeah, and he ended up with his team being Daisy, Monty Toad. No, this.
I know what that team looks like.
This is heinous. I'm putting it an F. He ended up with a team of worse sidekicks than Garrett did, in my opinion, and he ended up with the worst captain. So
Wait, we haven't done Garrett, right?
We have.
Yeah,
I was
we
still
have
looking
done
up
Garrett.
there.
I'm pretty sure we've seen this exact lineup run out there, and it was really bad. So I do not. I think that I'll let whoever wants to rank Hamilton, however they do, but I think that Hamilton and Dave had the same strat, and I think that Hamilton did better than David.
Unfortunately, I can confirm that I did play that exact lineup, I think, in week 5.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I will add, because I think we're rating everyone low, and I will take some guiltiness in that. Everyone's team is worse than last season.
Absolutely.
And that is the thing we have to remember is, yes, Garrett ran this exact comp with Daisy last season, and it got walloped. But the team that walloped him probably doesn't exist either.
You're right.
Unless it was Adam's triple hammer, bro, at which point it might have existed. But but the statement is like, while we think teams are bad, and I'm just going to state that I don't know that Dave taking, and this is me personally defending myself, taking a dry bones in the first round, knowing that you're not having a top tier captain, I'm curious to know what the consequence of that is.
Bad. Promise.
Okay.
Listen,
Well,
you said everybody's team is worse than last season. Does that mean you're admitting that Triple Shy Guy was decent?
No, I'm admitting it's better than your current team.
Actually, no, I don't know because I mean he has two
It's
balanced
just Triple
characters,
Shy Guy with the Monty instead.
and he has PD, who's
yeah.
better, is way
You
better.
have a
than
better
yeah.
captain. That
But
certainly
PD's
helps.
worse than PD's
Bowser.
could be argued to be worse than Bowser,
Right,
which
true.
Eric did have.
Yeah, and Eric could have had anything he wanted. Okay, so
Bowser
we
failed
still
me.
have Colin, Reed, and Jacob on the board. Colin, you are next up to pick the grade.
My pick. I'm looking to identify a B team because I think we need a team in the B tier, and I am
Wait,
looking.
Hamilton
at
is
the
also
board.
still on the board. Yeah.
Hamilton
Whoa.
is not going to the B tier. I'm sorry. Someone
Ridiculous.
else can put him there. I'm not putting him there. I think I'm gonna look. Obviously, well, we have Garrett in A, but I think I would honestly put Luigi in the B tier. I think Luigi is a solid captain. He tied for the Golden Boot last year. You come around, you take a dry bones on the turn. You're only ever getting one dry bones. You secure a decent captain, the best captain available. You get a dry bones, you come back, boost productive, and then you go hammer row at the end. You know, you could have gone Monty at the end, but I don't hate the hammer row pick.
Yeah, actually, shouts out to Reed.
I think that's for the rookie coach, the one rookie coach in the league. I think that's a solid draft.
Compared to these boys down here, nailed it. Eric, you've got Jacob, Colin, and Hamilton left.
I'm putting Hamilton in F.
Is that an actual take, or is that just pure vindictiveness?
It is an actual take because this man has the audacity to take dry bones as his first pick, which is still baffling, and proceeds to get the worst captain.
I see. Well, we'll re-examine that later.
Toad also just doesn't seem good to me.
Say that again.
Toad also just doesn't seem good to me.
I think the consensus is that Toad's number 2 sidekick.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be vindictive.
Do you want
Just throwing it out there.
What have you seen that makes Toad not seem good?
Probably it has to do with the comps that Toad has been in. Just like
The winning comps? What the fuck are you talking about?
I just feel like
He has
Toad,
no basis.
I feel like Toad has underperformed in the winning comps. I feel like the other sidekicks have done more than him in those winning comps.
I wish I had last season's stats pulled up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if the other sidekick is dry bones, then you're dead on. But other than that, it's tough. Okay. All right, Garrett. You got Jacob and Ham left. I mean, Jacob and Colin. Yeah, Jacob and Colin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go back to their teams. I'm sorry.
Thank you, behind the scenes
Colin.
production.
Yeah, it's really good. Thank you.
I do my best.
I'm gonna put the Collins team in the highest of C. Yeah, I'll put it above Freddie's team, but still in C.
I think that's fair.
I just think it's a little. You're missing the speed category. I think like you're a little slow.
I would like to say before we get into it.
Yeah.
Technically, my team has 2 players of each category of movement, speed, shooting, defense, and passing. Technically, I have 2 of each.
You do. However, I will say that Diddy's shot
Yeah.
power relative to his speed is not a good mix.
Yeah, Diddy's a toad
He's a toad.
at striker.
Exactly, and that's my fear.
I think it's all just gonna your Colin's draft grade entirely depends on if he can get more production out of the did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the make or break
Like
thing.
three hammer bros.
Look at these strikers indexes. 1.13, 1.33. Even like the middling captains, Waluigi, DK, and Luigi. And then you look at Diddy. And every sidekick is better except for Koopa.
Who saw one game, I think.
That is horrendous production.
Our Striker's index is based on wins,
Mhm.
and with the three Hammer Bros, he had one win.
Yeah. Well, that's the test. Hamilton,
No one
where
remembers
would
that
you, where
win,
would you like
right,
to put Mr. Monty playing for Mr. Yoshi? Hamilton, you might be muted again.
I'm really good at this. I gotta respect the guy who went out and built, I believe, his identical team as last season.
No, but yeah,
No?
Not quite.
yeah, not
No
even
dry
close.
bones.
Okay.
Or Hammer Bro.
50%.
Okay. Well, he brought back the key players, you know.
Yeah, Yoshi and Monty. That's it.
And so I'm gonna throw him up in B to make our little table look pretty, mostly. Also makes the green guys together. Totally good reasons to put him in B. But no, I think Yoshi wasn't a bad pick. I do think that Yoshi was one of the better captains, especially early in the season. And so I'm curious to see how he does now that all the other teams are worse. And I don't hate the Monty pick in the second round, mostly because his name is most likely going to become on Mr. Monty, and so he has to have a Monty. And after that, he got a Toad, which is a pick I like. Apparently, that's a hot take, but but I do think that it was a. I think his first three picks were good. His fourth pick leaves a little to be desired, but it's at the end of the draft. You could also say his second pick leaves something to be desired, but he had to get a Monty. So,
yeah.
I mean, he probably could have gotten a Monty in the third, but I think I would have suggested a Toad in the second anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. And then fourth round is only Shy Guy or Koopas available, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to set a 3-minute timer. The table is open. Everyone can talk. And I'm just going to pick out the stuff that I hear and move accordingly. But we have 3 minutes to make any corrections that we want until this is finalized. Make sense?
I like it.
Get me out of that.
Okay. No, you're staying in F. I
How
want
about you can't change your own team?
Yeah, that is fair. I want to move Hamilton up. I think that he got the best sidekicks possible. And I think it's an interesting bet that I'd like to see pay off.
I think it's a C.
I'd like to stay in F. I genuinely would
Anyone
like
else
to stay
have
in F.
thoughts on him?
Hamilton, stop being self-depreciative. You don't get a choice.
I think that's fine with me.
I think low C, high D is correct.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll leave the auto drafters in D. I'll be so real.
I wouldn't hate having Yoshi drop to high C just because I think Bowser Jr. is just better, but I don't hate low B.
Yeah. Let's let that marinate. Is there any reason to have a distinguishment between Garrett and Reed's draft performance? Because I do feel like Reed actually did really well.
I do think that.
I think they're either both in B or they're both in A.
I think that
I was
they
going
will
to suggest that they're both in B. No offense to Garrett, but I do think there's a difference between him and Austin.
If I may ask, how could I have drafted
I don't know if they could have done any better.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That was my argument too.
I was thinking of the roster, not the draft position. That's my bad.
Yeah.
If you're thinking
true.
pure roster, I get it. But if you're looking at draft position, I don't think you could do any better.
I think I made the correct pick at every point.
I won't argue that, and that's I was moving you to B because your team's good, compared to what you had, and I was just like, I wanted the team to be better, but you had the last pick, so
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I think we need to get this is my doing, but I think we need to get David out of F.
I think D is fine.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to be an F alone.
Draft better then.
You drafted in the second round a free agent.
Do we put the auto drafters in with him?
I think auto
if
draft
we
is
move-
automatic F. I don't hate it.
What if we
Yeah.
move everyone in C up to B,
The only thing I
do
have
like that.
against the auto
and then the
drafters is
D's
they
up
did.
to C?
And then move auto. Yeah.
The only thing with the auto drafters is they did take the correct captains. The
They did.
sidekicks are terrible, but they did take the correct captains.
Which
with their
so did Danny and Eric.
That is
I won't
true.
argue that.
Yeah. Well, Eric could have maybe done something else, but I don't hate
Eric
the. I don't
taking a
hate the
shy guy in
pick.
round 2. Eric taking a free agent. He effectively drafted Derek Carr in the first round again somehow.
Okay, anyone
It
else?
was the
Anyone else
second.
have a direct movement that they want to make here? We're running low on time.
I do want Danny back up in D.
Okay.
I think his draft was bad. I think that he built it in a specific way.
That's what we got.
He can make it work. He can make it work, but I don't know what I would do with that team.
Okay. Well, that's 3 minutes. No more moves. I actually think we shook this up like crazy.
Oh,
I think it ended up better.
I didn't know. I ended up in B. I didn't see that.
Yeah, we're gonna. I don't think that they're necessarily in the right orientation within. I think the stuff in B maybe could be moved around.
Gonna get a good laugh when I become a champion.
And it's
Whatever you
not
say,
not how
but
good
I
your
get-
team is, Eric. It's how you drafted, and you drafted Shy Guy second round.
You drafted a free agent in the second round, Eric. That's abhorrent.
He could have had Toad and Boo as well, right? He had the same fate as.
He had every option except
Yeah.
Dry Bones. And picked Shy
Yeah,
Guy.
he could have
Every person except
he could have
the
built my
Dry Bones.
playoff team. Both him and Danny could have built like a title contending team from last season, and did not, and ended up with this.
And that is abhorrent.
Yeah, that's okay. I can't touch it. Okay, so this is not predictive.
You will win games, Eric. I will tell you that. You are going to win games.
This is not predictive of the final table. This is not predictive of what we think the results will be. This is just purely draft performance based off, like the value that they got out of the position they were in. However, what is predictive is what we're going to do next, which is to predict.
Oh my!
The week
What a segue.
week 1 results. And so this is going to be a little bit different. In past seasons, I think it was in past season, I think it was much harder to predict because there were 3 options. This season, there's only one. Oh no, there's 2. There's just a win or a loss. And then we'll also try and predict how many games the series will go.
So wait, I do just want to clarify what you just said. Are you saying that there's no potential ties?
Correct.
No
Best of
potential
threes
ties.
all the way through.
Every
Incredible.
series is best of 3, with map picks and bans. So this is playoff format, this is playoff day 1 format, if that makes sense. So first game that we have is Freddie versus Colin. It's going well.
Look at you making bulk edits. How far
Yeah.
you've come.
Well, don't talk to me about keystrokes. I worked at CVS. So Freddie versus Colin, and we also should be taking potential map picks and bans into consideration. You don't have to speak on your own team if you don't want to. Freddie versus Colin. I see what Colin is cooking, and I'm gonna go Colin in 3. I see what Colin's cooking, and I don't know how many weeks he'll get away with it, but I do think that it'll work in week 1. Ham, who you got in the series?
I'm gonna go Colin in 2. Be bold.
Wow, dominant. Not a good look for the defending champ. Colin, do you back yourself?
You gotta be confident in the team. If I didn't feel confident in the team, I wouldn't have drafted him. I am gonna go myself, but in 3. I don't fully remember what my bans were. But I know there was a lot of theory behind it, and I put a lot of thought into it. So I probably did a good job with it. So I'm gonna take myself in 3, and we'll hope for the best. Hope the kid can show something.
Garrett.
I'm gonna
His
shake it
team
up.
is
I
terrible.
truly just think that the matchups here are abhorrent for Colin. I'm gonna take Fred in a sweep.
First Freddie
I think it's
pick.
fair. I think this could go anyway. I just
It
don't want
comes
to predict
down to
against
map
myself.
picks and bans, and I'm not about to try and predict. It's hard enough for me to predict my own, let alone think of other people's. I think purely on a matchup v matchup point, I think Freddie's team just runs around you too far hard.
Shell.
Looking at the teams with the little information I know about this sport, we're
I
going
remember my band now.
Fred in 3. I think they go the distance.
I think that's what that was my. I was gonna say Fred regardless, but I was really struggling to see 2 or 3. Figured I wanted to be different.
I remember what my band was now.
All right. Wasteland.
If it's not exactly the Wastelands, you might have made a mistake.
But it's-
I have a theory about what map would be worst for me. I don't think it's the map that Fred picked, but I think it's the map that would be the worst for this matchup.
yeah, which also, Freddie doesn't have dry bones anymore, so he has lost his Wasteland buff.
And I do.
Oh, true. That's valid.
Yeah. So different league. Eric, who you taking?
Colin in 3.
Colin in 3. All right. Well, relatively balanced predictions. Although we do slightly lean towards our defending champ taking the first loss. And now we have a slog. Dude, why are there so many teams that don't have a single speed character? Like,
It's kind of insane.
What is going to happen out there? Like, I feel like this league had a chance to not be balanced, and it actually is, like, crazy balanced. Like, I really have no idea how to separate so many of these teams.
Speed characters are what? Toad, Boo, Dry Bones?
Yeah, literally the best 3.
And then some of the captains.
Yeah. Which the speed captains blow, but the speed sidekicks are really good. Okay, well, I wish I could pick ties.
Nope.
Yeah. Double Birdo is it's not good, and I wanted a Birdo on my team, so I'm gonna go Eric and two.
Me and Austin both wanted the Birdo and settled on Monty's.
Colin and Hamilton.
I might have slandered his draft, but I don't think his team is terrible. I'm going to go Eric in 3.
Thank you. I've forgiven you partially.
I stand by my draft picks. And by that I mean your draft rating.
PD Piranha appears in my nightmares. So I can't pick against him, but I do think Grant takes one. We'll go Eric in 3.
Garrett.
Yeah, I got Eric in 2.
Oh my god.
This is
Do we know if
slandering
Grant
Eric.
is going to submit a roster?
Eric's team is go ahead first, Ham.
He texted me today, and I sent him a link because he asked for me to send it to him directly. So that already is miles above last season.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, add him
What
too.
the hell?
So, but they also can do much less with their. They don't know anything about maps. So now they can't change their sidekicks, and they don't know anything about maps. So I don't.
They have a 1 in 3 chance of getting the correct sidekick orientation because they only have 3 options.
Yeah. Great. Shell, who do you have in this matchup?
I don't think I can go against the captain difference, so I gotta go Eric and I'll go Eric in 2. The double Birdo is really what's changed.
It's
the
really
game.
throwing me off, dude.
It's changing me from 3 to 2.
Really
believe in
throwing me
it.
off.
I'm a Birdo lover.
All right. Adam versus Reed.
Eric's got Grant in 1. Love that.
True.
Eric, do you think
agree with this?
you're going to 2 or 3 games?
I never vote for myself in anything. I'm giving Grant 3.
Wow.
Bro.
And Eric, to be fair, so the reason we drafted it was his draft grade that was low. To be clear, we all think that his captain pick is great, but the rest of his draft was awful. So that's why he was low in the draft grade. Not
Exactly.
Yep.
He still win games.
Yep. Still win games against other teams that had terrible drafts. So that's a good point, Shell. Speaking of terrible drafts versus actually good drafts, I really hope that Reed doesn't lose this because I think he did everything right, and I can't say much about what Adam did. So I'm going
A
Reed in
double
2.
burnout.
Ham.
I will provide some information that I was on FaceTime with Reed for about an hour looking at maps and lineups. I did not tell him what to do. I simply was explaining what the maps were. I want
Okay.
to clarify that as well. But I am going to go Reed in 3.
Colin.
Let's see, we got Adam and Reed. I think Reed did better in the draft. Adam does have Wario.
Shit.
Reed has a dry bones. Adam has I'm betting on my boy Wario. I'll take Adam in 3 and a shocker. I think it's an upset, but I'm taking Adam in 3.
Garrett.
Actually, see, can I beat Adam's team? It's the real question. I'm gonna say that due to the fact that I think Luigi will spend all of his big time crushing the shit out of Simbertos, give me Adam in 3.
Wow. Thank you for the formula suggestion.
It's a good one.
You don't want
That's
that.
what you wanted.
You don't want that, brother.
It's just picking the home team for
Your
Garrett.
picks have been made. Garrett.
Garrett's locked
Let's go,
in.
babe. I'm sweeping Dan.
I am locked in.
Oh, Shell, what do you want to do?
So I think because Luigi is a mid-rated character, I don't think he's gonna have the success that he once did last season. I think my prediction is Luigi and Mario gonna flip, and
Okay.
so I'm going Adam in 3 because I think Wario is gonna outdo Luigi by a ton.
Double
Just picking an
Birdo putting
upset.
in work. Eric, what do you want?
Give me Reed in 2.
All right.
I would like to point out just for the vibes of picking someone to win in 2 versus picking someone to win in 3 is very different. Because to win in 2, it means you are beating the other team on either their first selected or second selected map, versus winning in 3 means you're probably losing on their home turf and winning like a neutral site game. So winning in 2 is really kind of an extra disrespect of beating them on their own map choice, as Austin switches his Eric from a 2 to a 3.
I think you make some really good points. One thing as we go from the Luigi team to the Mario team in the next thing, one thing that is interesting is this team that you guys are both running is pretty much the exact same team that was the NTN JV team in the Toilet Bowl. That was Boo, Drybones, and Hammerbro on your guys' team, and then the Toilet Bowl it was Toad, Drybones, and Hammerbro, and that team was arguably either the 11th or 12th best team in the league. Food for thought, but it's also just such a different league. So we have Dave versus Garrett, which by that logic, if we're taking legacy teams, I do think that Garrett's legacy team is better than Dave's. And I'm going to run with that, and based off Colin's logic, and probably that David put some thought into map selection, I'm going to go 3. Cam?
I'm going to go... Sorry. Can you show me the rosters? I know that you just talked about it. I'm sorry. Give me Garrett in 3. I think that the sidekicks are going to be better, and I think David's going to try and big brain maps, and I think it's going to backfire on him.
Just like playoffs. Colin?
I like Garrett's team better. They both have a dry bones. Mario is obviously better than Daisy. Boo and Toad are the same, and then I think the difference between Mario and Daisy is bigger than the difference between Monty and Hammer Bro. And so I think I'm going to go Garrett in 3.
Will he back himself?
I don't care about no fruit roll up. This is a stick up. Bitch, shut up. Garrett in 2.
He does back himself. What a come up Garrett has had since week 4 of season 1. Shell, I think I already know where you're gonna go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Garrett in 2 though.
Shell's already talked to his Mario propaganda.
I think they're gonna flip. Like I said previously, I think Mario's gonna have a big year.
I'd like to change my pick if it's allowed.
I hate to interrupt. This is going to date the episode, but Colin, the Bills just traded up.
I see that they're on the clock. I didn't realize they traded up.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
I'm watching.
We slept on Dave all last season with triple toads, and I think he's gonna get it done this time. I still think it's going to 3.
We traded the 3rd.
Eric?
Dave in 2.
Traded the 2nd.
David
Whoa.
too.
Whoa! With a Daisy captain is crazy.
You have to remember, Shell, that he traded the best captain in the entire game for Daisy.
Or Daisy.
Yeah.
This is
his perception
it's
is worse.
smoke and mirrors.
Heard.
His deception is marred, 100%.
That's why he's F on the draft board.
Yeah, this. We know Eric for his rock solid future sight.
I do back myself in this.
I agree.
How strongly? Like Colin said, it's so hard to pick a 2. But if not now,
When?
I'm just looking at the last series, and what the hell is that? Hamilton.
Yeah, the
that
hand
series is terrible.
Give me Jaco in 3.
Respect.
I'm
Egg.
looking at, we have, I believe, 2 overlapping players in Monty and Toad. So we've got, the way I'm breaking this down is Yoshi and Koopa versus DK and Monty. I'm taking Austin in 2.
Good math. Garrett?
It's so hard in 2.
It is.
Dude, I have so much fear for. Give me Austin in 2. I've got so much fear for this DK team.
I think Austin's team's pretty versatile. I don't think there's a map that Jacob can bring them to that Austin doesn't have a fighting chance.
I agree.
Which also is part of the problem, that there's not a map that's optimized for DK, but
That
I
is
hear what
true.
you're saying.
Wait, we haven't seen DK on the storm ship yet. Maybe
That's true.
he's a monster.
We haven't seen the double tilt. We haven't seen the double tilt.
That's even how that works.
We have no idea.
No idea how it works.
Incredible.
But the map's tilted, and he also likes to tilt the map, so something's gonna happen.
Everyone flies into the sun and the match is canceled.
Shell, who you got?
All right. So I think if I'm I gotta respect Jaco's loyalty with Yoshi, and I'm looking at this team, the canon chemistry of the teams, and I think the chemistry is just better with Jaco's team. So I'm going Jaco in 3.
Respect. Eric?
Jaco in 2.
Okay.
Is he just picking the underdog in 2 each time?
No, he picked
Not
me in
necessarily.
3, then
Great in 3.
he picked me in 3, and then it's the underdog in 2.
He's not gone full Freddy, where Freddy just literally just sits at the end and then just picks whatever we don't pick. That is okay. We gotta put a highlight. We gotta put a special note on this series, because what the hell are we watching?
This series, I think this
What
should be
the
the
hell are we
series
watching?
that gets posted on the YouTube 3 days later.
So we have quadruple speed. Okay, we've never seen this team. Actually, I think Danny got pretty darn close to this. Danny definitely ran something very similar to this at some point. Danny had some full
now
speed
banned
sprint.
Sandpit.
Right. Versus a team with no speed. And not just that, 3 slow characters and a Koopa.
And a
What-
Koopa.
The simulation is going to break. We have no data. We have no intel on what's going to happen. I just purely based off draft performance, I want to go Hammond 3. But I really don't know where the goals are going to come from for Hamilton. Hamilton, your dry bones is going to have to be the GOAT. Like when Colin's tracking sidekick specific stats, like he has to be the golden boot for the entire league, or else your team is in dead last. But you can make your pick now.
I'm gonna tip my hat to Danny. He's gonna take it in 3.
Damn, he's good. He knows.
He loves the self-deprecation. I think, despite the draft performances of everyone, there's a difference maker on this field, and he's big, and he has a big ass spiky shell. I'm taking Dan in 3 as Austin changes. Austin spent too much time looking at the sidekicks, not at the fire-breathing turtle man.
And the freaking let's look at Striker's index. Tied for Golden Boot, 1.06, where half of his season was tossed by wacky sidekicks. Versus
I wonder by who.
0.3.
Same
Okay.
thing.
Garrett,
There ain't no spiky green shell, Liberty Bell. Both these teams' draft was hell. Danny in 3.
bars. I'm Hamilton. I'm looking in the mirror. Shell.
I mean, there's really no other way I can put it but Dan in 3, because if I look at it canonically and logically, there's no way that Bowser loses to a Peach.
And Eric goes Hamilton in 2. Calling it now.
The canon analysis is really what we needed.
The canon analysis. I like the canon. Canon analysis fits in the world of soccer. I'm sure it's how it goes.
And for the final
Eric-
Fred, Eric.
Dan
Don't
in
fuck
2.
this up. Dan in 2.
Wow. The only sweep. I don't think this is right. I don't think this should be a no consolation guarantee. But
I agree.
But it is.
it is a no consolation
is.
guarantee.
That's the only sweep we picked.
Yeah. And I think
I
it's
mean, look.
honestly one of the most even.
You gotta tip your hat. At the end of the day,
All this talk about meta comps, Toad Boo Dry Bones, Double Dry Bones Toad, Triple Dry Bones. The real meta and has been and always will be self-deprecation. And we've fallen right into Hamilton's trap.
I think the real meta is good captain, but I guess
Waluigi-
Waluigi won the
Waluigi
league,
won.
so I guess maybe not.
No, it was just Triple Dry Bones. The rule of the season is that at any point you should have been adding a Dry Bones to your team, and if you didn't, you made a mistake. And so we all made mistakes except for Freddie. But
I didn't. I don't know what you're saying.
you didn't.
Alright, Shy Guy.
Freddie, I mean not
This
Freddie.
shot-
Eric, you literally could have had playoffs. It was in the palm of your hand. You could have won
you
the whole
could've
thing.
won the league.
Yeah. You could have made it into the upper bracket if you just picked up Garrett's team sooner.
No.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna say is it's a new league. There's no triple dry bones. We may never even see a double dry bones. We'll see how the trade economy plays out. But we're in for some cinema. So on that note,
I want to
you.
say one thing before we leave.
yes.
Just kind of a little bit of pumping myself, but season 2 we will have stats galore. Anything you want to track, we can track it. Goals per map, mega strikes per map. Individual sidekicks will have individual performances, so we'll know how Dan's Birdo compares to Adam's Birdos, and I personally think that's gonna be really fun to look at. and
Can we get
it's
touches
exciting
on the
me
ball?
about the new season.
Can we get ball
Comment what
touches?
stat
If you want to do the
find.
inputs for that shell, we can get it.
What did Shell want?
Touches on the ball.
Yeah, no, that will not be tracked. But if you want anything related to goals, we will have that stat. If you want us to track a stat that is related to goals, let me know and I can find it.
To the
Or
35,000
you
watches we
want-
currently have, comment what stat you want.
Also, if you want
Or-
to nickname your sidekick, Eric's already gone ahead and done that. I can
Yup.
do that.
I also want to state that we can track other stats. You just got to do the inputs.
We're tracking goals, and we have all the stats related to goals because that's what we're tracking.
I love my
And
sidekick
inputting.
names. So proud of them.
Defensive plays could be cool, but I wouldn't.
If you want to figure out that, you'll be paid a lot of money by actual soccer leagues.
In the words of Jacob, this is a data-driven league, and shouts out to the stat team because the data's only getting better. So we will see everyone tomorrow night for week 1 of SPL. Godspeed.
Sure.